Cobra. No, you have?
No, this is
Okay. You like it?
Yeah.
Pasta. Pasta as well? I read really good things about pasta.
For yours?
Is that for you? Yeah. Oh, well. Well, like the thing that convinced me is like if there's an issue, just bring it in, and they'll send it and bring it back. And usually pretty quickly, as well as just get the doctor.
Yeah.
You gonna make it all right? With your back and all that? Thank you. No problem. I was getting up there and all that.
Oh no.
Self-guided tour, stay right here.
Smile, it's gonna take a while. No, hey, enjoy your
Why is it Mammoth Cave?
No, I haven't. Hello, Katie.
Folks on the historic tour, make sure you got your tickets in.
But so architects insisted on having white. And they started doing this.
Welcome to the Mammoth Cave. All right. Now, I can kind of assume, just by what I have observed of you all so far, a couple things about you. Okay? My first assumption, and it doesn't have to be for everybody, but at least for quite a few of you all really love national parks. You all really love national parks. Mammoth Cave became your 26th national park on July 1st of 1941. Of the 63 major national parks that we have today, we were number 26. Now, some of you all might not know, but as far as the national park sites in the United States of America, there are over 420 of them. There are so many incredible places that we get to enjoy in this beautiful country. What makes Mammoth Cave so special? Why were we important enough to become a national park? There's caves everywhere. It's the longest cave in the world.
Jesse James.
Does anybody know how long we are? 400. Technically, it's
546.
We're still exploring. We're still exploring. The Cave Research Foundation actually jumps inside this cave every holiday weekend and continues to explore this cave. The first year that I came to work at Mammoth Cave, we were 408 miles. And then the next year, we were 412 miles. And then the next year, we were 420 miles. And then the next year, we were 426 miles. And they haven't updated our mileage in a couple years now. So the next time they give us a new number, you can expect that it's going to be a pretty big jump. That's for sure. World's longest known cave. That's pretty special. That's not why we became a national park. They didn't know that until 30 years after we became a national park. We had to be impressive enough on our own before they even knew this was the longest cave. And why were we that important? We gotta go back quite a ways. We actually gotta go back about 5,000 years. Because 5,000 years ago was the first time that a human being stepped foot into this cave. The Native Americans that lived in this area were the first people to explore it. And we know that for a fact because they left a whole bunch of their trash down there. Anytime that one of their bundles of cane reed burned out, they're thrown to the side of the trail. Why would they keep carrying that? That's of no use to them. Sometimes, maybe one of their plant fiber moccasins would get snagged on rock. Completely unraveled from not moving their foot. Why would they carry that back out of the cave? They wouldn't. They leave to the side. We find tools that they made inside the cave. Right here in this room, you all can see evidence of what they did in here by the marks on the wall. If you look closely, notice how it almost looks like this wall has been beaten. All of these little divot marks that you can see coming through this black material on the wall, all the white shining through, that's where they were using maybe a rock or a mussel shell to beat that mineral off of the wall. There's so many things that I wish I could tell you about the natives that explored Mammoth Cave. I wish I could tell you what they called themselves or what tribe they were from. I have no idea. 5,000 years ago. To put that in perspective, they were exploring Mammoth Cave before the pyramids of Egypt were built yet. I wish I could tell you what they wanted to do with this mineral. This mineral is known as gypsum. It's what your drywall is made out of. I wish I could tell you why it was so important to them to continue to spend so much time inside of the cave, so much so that they were in here for thousands of years. I wish I could tell you what made them come into the cave to begin with. I wish I could tell you why they left the cave when they did. But I can't. Because they happened so long ago. And there's nobody today that can tell their exact story. What we can see is pretty much it. But we know that they were exploring Mammoth Cave. We know that they were beating this mineral off of the wall. We know that this meant something to them, or else they wouldn't have buried some of their dead inside of it. We know that they wouldn't have left drawings on the walls because of it. And we also know that this cave meant so much to them for some reason that for their time period of people, this is the furthest in a cave that they ever explored.
Right here.
This cave. They explored 19 miles of Mammoth Cave. 19 miles with sticks on fire. Could you imagine doing that? I can't. I don't think there's anything in the world that would get me to stay down here for hours on end wearing deerskin clothing, plant fiber moccasin shoes, with sticks on fire as my light source. I am constantly amazed by what they did in this cave every single time I come down here and have the privilege to walk on concrete and turn on electric lights. But at a certain point they leave. We don't know where they go. We don't know why they leave. But this cave just kind of sits here with no human impact for a very long time. Until the 1790s. Now already in and of itself, I told you a pretty good reason for us to become a national park. There are so many things inside of this cave that have been preserved for thousands of years from what they left down here. Matter of fact, the first thing that ever really made people get super curious about this cave is the fact that they were finding mummies inside of it. Because in the same way that a shoe, or a bowl, or a stick is preserved inside of this cave, so are human remains, naturally mummified by the cave environment. This becomes an incredibly culturally sensitive area, so important that we are able to observe a human person from thousands of years ago that has been preserved inside of this cave. But then the 1790s come around. European settlers start settling across this area. We know that Revolutionary War soldiers are being given land grants of Kentucky. And at a certain point, while this is happening, this cave shows up on a map. Now there's a little legend about a young boy hunting a bear, runs into the mouth of Mammoth Cave. Ranger Tyler used to work at another cave. Ranger Tyler worked at Oregon Caves before he came here. And Tyler and I had a pretty funny conversation on our way out of our last tour this morning. We were talking about the similarities between so many different caves, and he led our geology tour that we did this morning. And I told him, you actually taught me a couple new words today that I hadn't heard of before. He said, well, I learned a lot of this stuff when I was at Oregon Caves. Some of this more in-depth geology, I was able to just transfer my knowledge over. And he said, as well as the story of how the cave was discovered. Because in Oregon Caves, wouldn't you know it, some guy was hunting a bear and the bear ran in the mouth of the cave. It's the same story so many other places. So it's kind of hard for me to say for sure, yeah, that's how this cave was discovered. But what I can tell you is that it is around that time that people do start coming in this cave. And they immediately take note of something that is super out of the ordinary. By a quick show of hands, because I've also gathered something else about you all. You all have been to other caves before. Those other caves that you've been to, show of hands, did they have stalactites or stalagmites in it? Yes or no? Yeah. That's the pretty stuff, right? That's the stuff we want to see. Give me the formations. What do you see right here? No formations. Mammoth Cave pretty much has none. We're not known for that. I'm sorry if that's what you were expecting when you came here today. I understand that it can be disappointing. We were actually voted the third most disappointing tourist attraction in North America because of it. It's a true story. But when they came in the cave in the 1790s, looked around, and saw no water and no formations, they got happy. Because in China, a very long time ago, some really smart person figured out that there are nitrates preserved in dry cave dirt. And if you build a really big wooden box, shovel tons of dirt and put it in that box, maybe hollow out some tulip poplar trees and fit those together like pipes, bring water through those pipes to that box, and start washing the dirt, collect all the sludgy stuff that comes out the bottom, pump it all the way back up to the surface, put it in a really big kettle and mix in potassium-rich ingredients such as turnips, or ox blood, or potash. A reaction is going to take place that converts the calcium nitrate in our cave dirt into potassium nitrate, which is also known as saltpeter. What's saltpeter used for? Gunpowder. Gunpowder. It's the third main ingredient in black gunpowder. That's a really useful tool to have in your backyard. Especially after 1808. President Thomas Jefferson signs the Embargo Act. And we stopped trading with other countries. Essentially, he tells Great Britain, you're not playing nice, we're not playing at all. One of our main imports that we had been importing gunpowder from was India, a British territory. We're not importing that anymore. We're not doing anything. And then 4 years later, in 1812, now we're in a war. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can never remember what the name of that war is off the top of my head. Anybody want to help me out with that? The War of 1812, yes. And now that we're in the War of 1812, we are forced to be self-sufficient for the first time as a young nation. And one of those things to be self-sufficient in? Our own gunpowder. They turned to the caves across Kentucky and Virginia to do just that. And Mammoth Cave explodes as a factory operation to harvest those nitrates out of dirt. Now, this unfortunately is the first time that we see slavery used inside of Mammoth Cave. The owners went a little further south and essentially rented or leased 70 enslaved men and brought them to Mammoth Cave to start harvesting all of these nitrates out of the dirt. And what a horrible irony it is that they're helping preserve a freedom that they don't even get to enjoy, while being down here doing all of this back-breaking, labor-intensive work. One of my favorite things about Mammoth Cave has nothing to do with the fact that we're the longest cave in the world, and everything to do with the fact that we are the longest underground time capsule. All of those pipes you see behind you, the hands of those men touched them. Those aren't replicas of anything. Everything that we're going to pass here in just a moment as well has been in this cave for the last 200 years. The stories of those men, the lives of those men piece of that history for us to be able to recognize that. And at a certain point, the war fizzles out. America just kind of, whatever, we start importing again, and the price of saltpeter drops from over $1 a pound that it had risen to about a nickel a pound. It's not profitable to be doing any of this anymore. So the owners of the cave send all of those men home, and then throw a door on the mouth of it. Well, what on earth are we going to do with it now? 1 year later, in 1816, a random man shows up at the owner's door. And the owner's house was right on the outside of the mouth of the cave. He goes up to it, he knocks. Oh, yeah, can I help you? Is that your cave? Yeah. I want to go see it. What? I've been hearing about all this stuff that they've been finding down there. I've been hearing all the work they've been doing down there. I've been hearing about how big the cave is. I want to go look at it myself. Okay. I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff I have to do. I can't just drop everything and take you down to the cave. No, I know that, and I respect your time. I really do. I really, really want to see it. Hey, what if I paid you to take me down there? $210 years later, you're still doing it. Tourism, what a racket. A brand new purpose for Mammoth Cave. There are so many things that have happened inside of this cave. It would be impossible for me to tell you all of them on just this 2-hour tour. But what I want you to understand is just the short distance that we've walked into the cave already, you are actively following in the footsteps of history. You have already actively followed in the footsteps of the Native Americans that first began exploring this cave. You have actively followed in the footsteps of the first European pioneers to come into the cave. You are actively following in the footsteps of the men that worked tirelessly against their will to help preserve this freedom that we get to enjoy. And you are following in the footsteps of a 210-year-long tradition of tourism right here at Mammoth Cave. Would you all like to see more? Yeah. Follow me?
Go ahead, sir. One day. Just wait.
That's all the old structure, the old saltpeter process.
Certainly. No one's gonna look. Tuberculosis.
write your name in Mammoth Cave. They, of course, continued to do it. But something else started popping up in the cave after that. Now, I know this is a long shot, but did anybody here happen to attend Purdue University? I know it was a long shot. Well, what they started doing at that time is they found out that you could actually use the rocks inside of the cave to build a monument. The guys were actually tricking you because they were told they needed to clear the path. So they were actually having you pay them to build a monument in the cave, but you were using the rocks from the trail to do it. So you were clearing their path for them and giving them money to do it. But once they figured out you could do this, they started actually pre-making signs and bringing signs into the cave to set on top of their monuments. So here in just a second, this big pile of rocks right to our left is a Purdue University sign that some students from Purdue put inside the cave.
That's the side-by trails figured out. I think we stay on it. It should be off into that broke down. I see a pattern emerging.
just inside of the cave. Yeah, and after you guys take a look, if you'll just come right over here and come in this curve for me, give everybody a chance to take a look at those. Makes sense.
Turn the lights off just for like 10 seconds. So we can experience what it'd be like in total darkness, you know?
Tell you a secret. We do that on every tour.
Oh, you do that?
We do, yeah. Yeah, I'm actually about to. You guys come on up from the back. Come take a look at it. Now you can't see back there. You guys have any questions for me?
That's the garbage, the Indian garbage that they use on torches.
Ancient trash. Beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did everybody get to see it?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for holding that for me.
Don't forget your water bottle.
Thank you. Technically, none of it was mine. Because when we're thinking about what the Native Americans did, they were just scraping a mineral off of it. They weren't really altering the rock itself. And as far as all of the leaching went, they just needed the dirt. They didn't need the rocks. So they weren't touching the walls or the ceilings at all. Yeah, so everything you're seeing is natural. The only difference is gonna be your trail, your floor. Yeah. Any other curiosities? So here's the deal. Tourism started ramping up. People started coming more frequently, and then eventually it comes to a point where people are looking at Mammoth Cave as a business opportunity, not just a place to vacation with their family. So, in 1838, a lawyer purchases Mammoth Cave for $5,000. He starts making better trails inside of the cave. He adds some rooms up onto the hotel on the surface. But one of the things that he did that had the most profound impact on Mammoth Cave is he actually brought a young man that he owned to it. This lawyer owned a young enslaved man named Stephen Bishop. And when Stephen got here, he was probably somewhere between 18 and 20 years old. Late teens, early 20s. And as he arrives at Mammoth Cave, he is told, your duty is to guide tours. And so he starts learning how. Some of the guides that had been here before him start teaching him the ropes, showing him what areas he needs to really light up the cave a little bit more, what areas they have specific bonfires in the cave for him to light to show them how massive the rooms are. They show them how to specifically throw balls of fire to be able to show them how high or how tall or how far the ceiling is away from where they are, because they don't have flashlights. He starts learning all these things, and as he's doing so, he starts asking questions like something I guarantee so many of you have thought to yourself while we've been down here. What if it's back that way? What's over there? Where's that go? And as he kept asking that, he just kept being told, Stephen, we don't know. Not sure anybody's ever been back there before. If they have, I don't know what they found. And so eventually, they say, Stephen, go look. You want to know about it so bad, go find out. And I can only imagine how perplexed he is by hearing this. What? You want me to go look? Yeah. If you want to know what's back there, then go look and see. In case you haven't noticed, there's nobody down here telling you what to do. So he goes. He starts jumping in all these little holes around here and just starts exploring. In the first year that Stephen Bishop was here, he doubled the known mileage of the cave. That young man began exploring so fully that to this day, there are some times that some of our scientists and researchers might get to an area and think they're the first person there, and then see his name written on the wall. He became so well known as the guy you wanted to do your tours. Because when you're thinking about people coming to Mammoth Cave, you're not thinking about, local farmers. You're thinking about professors. You're thinking about the highest educated and the wealthiest people in the country or even out of the country that are visiting Mammoth Cave. This was a 5-star resort. This was an experience to get to come and do.
Still is.
It still is. When you got here and you met Stephen, and he started taking you on his tour, you might say, Stephen, do you know what rock this is? Maybe he says he doesn't know. I just so happen to have studied. This is limestone. Limestone. It's calcium. Calcium. And maybe just so the next tour comes through, and Stephen turns to his group and says, this is limestone. It's made out of calcium. Maybe somebody else would say, well, Stephen, do you know what this mineral growing on the wall is? No. Well, I just so happen to have studied under the father of American mineralogy, Professor Parker Cleveland, up in Maine, and he told me that this mineral is called gypsum. Next tour. This is limestone. It's made out of calcium, and this mineral is gypsum. He starts telling you everything he's learning. And sooner or later, he's got a geology degree. He knows how to speak in Latin. He knows how to write a little bit in Latin. He's able to tell you Greek mythology and Roman mythology stories. He's able to keep you entertained for the hours upon hours you are inside of this cave with him. And you love every minute of it. You see this entire class flip from what would be happening up on the surface. This slave you are not walking in front of, you are walking behind. And down inside of this cave one day, on one of Stephen's tours, a man approaches him and says, Stephen, I've had a good time. I'm not done. Matter of fact, I'll tip you all the money I have on me if you'll take me somewhere no one, not even you, has ever been before. And Stephen says, let's go. And following in the footsteps of the Native Americans, they walk right into the mouth of Mammoth Cave. Following in the footsteps of all of the men that worked for that saltpeter, to where we're standing right now, in front of the giant's coffin. On their tour the day before, they had continued going that direction. The cave stays huge for miles. But on that day, they go underneath it. And of course, you have to remember, they're exploring quite differently than we do. When they go behind the giant's coffin, they come to an area where Stephen says, watch your step now. We're going to side saddle around this pit. Side saddle pit. And then they come to a really big hole in the ground. Sir, tell me what you see here. Nothing. This is the bottomless pit. And today, we're going to cross it. Stephen runs into a side passageway where he knew some construction had been happening a couple weeks before and brings back a 25-foot tall wooden ladder. He goes up to the edge of that pit and starts extending it across until it hits something on the other side. He makes sure it's good and secure, and he puts the handle of his lantern in his teeth. And on hands and knees, rung by rung, he crawls to the other side. He stands up. All right, sir, it's your turn. Would you have followed Stephen? Nope. I don't think I would. Especially now, though, that we know how deep the bottomless pit is. We've measured it. We put a light bulb down there. The bottomless pit is just over 105 feet deep. Folks, we're going to cross the bottomless pit today. Now, as I said, Tyler and I did do this morning. So that ladder is still holding on pretty strong. Now, we've got a graded bridge that we're going to walk across today. Graded, you do not have to lean over the handrail to look down. You can just look between your feet. If you are afraid of heights, I suggest not given that. But they crossed the bottomless pit together. And on the other side, Stephen Bishop would be the first person to discover Fat Man's Misery, Tall Man's Agony, Great Relief Hall, River Hall, and Mammoth Dome. The rest of our tour today, we are following in the footsteps of Stephen Bishop. Raise your hand if you have any more questions. If anybody's got a watch or a phone that makes some light, we'll try to cover those up as much as we can, and we'll just try to look at the cave as it is. Because this right here, folks, is all 426 miles of Mammoth Cave. Now, as I mentioned before, this is where the cave changes. This is where the walls come in, the ceiling gets low, and you're going to have to be careful. You are going to have to watch your head. You are going to have to watch your step. And if you cannot do either of those things, I implore you, watch your language. Alrighty, here we're going to cross those pits. We're going to go down to the Fat Man's Misery, the Tall Man's Agony, and I hopefully see you all again at River Hall.
Inside.
Very good.
Hey, what's written on there on the end? Kozad. Okay. No, you wouldn't. Look. Don't say it out loud now. Manny's been here.
They had to shoot it out. I've never been there. Our company.
Yes.
That's a little cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why we was there, but we was
it
there.
was on your way to South Dakota.
Was it?
Go back in that little cove. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had the white sheepdog following us.
There's a story with it. Did you hit your head?
Yeah, it stays
Oh.
longer. It's that second one. I didn't hit it, but I felt it touch my head. Did you think you're done?
Yeah.
It wasn't an Alfred, it was a thunder. I think that's off.
Put your arm on the rail and you slide.
Tissue. Stop, no. We gotta go around this one. Go.
Don't touch it.
Oh, look at all the
Your
little
back.
ships that wrote their names in here.
Yeah.
Still doing it, though. I wanna see a tiny bat. Tyler? Oh.
No.
I must turn off the light.
Yeah, there's another class coming
I'll
along.
make you have to, okay?
Hey, this is a good camp out spot right here.
Must be self-headed toward the left.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I always
Is it fault? Oh.
I see you did, I know I have to do it.
Oh, they're right. I got two of them sitting right on top. I've got like 3 charging cords. Don't ever charge like.
Why?
Want me to take a picture of you folks?
That'd be awesome.
Okay, ma'am, hand me your camera. Okay, all of you, you know this is gonna be $5. Everything's in, no,
Turn your neck down?
Thank you.
Neck down.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the neck down?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's funny.
$10 if you want your faces in. Sorry, I should have told you ahead of time.
Looks like the duck walk's going down. Steps on
Or something like Holder says. You can see all over.
That's where she goes backwards. I just don't want to.
There you got that picture.
Folks, we'll just make sure we move along. There's another tour that's at the coffin right now. They can't do the whole thing with the lights until we're out of here. If they hit the button right now, we're in the dark.
In the dark.
And make that a little more
We'd rather
interesting.
not be going down this staircase in the dark.
Nope.
This is bitchin'. Oh yeah! Yeah, we're in. Yes. No, I don't. Was that Batman's misery? Okay. Oh. That's a little low slung. Kind of like kayaking on that. Notice kayak failure in Texas.
You should be able to find
Oh, I know what sandpaper. No, should've worn my hat after all. with that twist. Like twisted. Water drip. Oh yeah, we had a thing of gasoline in the fuse. All the gasoline.
It is in the dark. I'm sure it is. With a wooden ladder. Oh yeah, there is a cricket.
Oh, look, the baby. There's another one right there.
Maybe it's one of those bats.
Yes. Fuzzy bats. No, you got to all over the spring, maybe. 1838. I don't think they had Krylon then.
That's not Krylon, that's bonfire stick. Oh, there's the bottom one.
Was it the one that says bottomless pit?
That's the bottom one.
All right, here's the dirt.
Oh, good Lord, that's so down.
Oh, there's a black clear down there.
That, there's the bottom one.
I see better than this one.
Don't look down, babe.
Oh, thanks. Wow, it's gonna be all right here.
I wonder if that's the moon on that day. Actually, kind of amazing that they had concreted this whole path.
I know it. Can you imagine who?
No.
What's that?
I said I'll wait for my guy. He didn't
Why?
take it yet.
You what? I know.
You were looking down in the pit.
You were looking where you're not supposed to look down.
Yeah. But you gotta do the signal. You didn't throw the signal.
If my kid came in here before, this was something I should do.
Really?
Yeah.
My mom would probably send us in here with flashlights. Say,
Point that out.
street lights, come on, come home.
These are probably the same stairs we come. Oh no, it's a spiral.
Yeah. Especially right here.
With your lantern or your sticks that are on fire. That's funny. Everywhere they go, his name's already written on the wall.
Say that again.
Yeah.
I heard a woman say he was right. You got to shut up, Brenda.
He wasn't there, see? He was in that low spot. No, I can't get to, I got keep a little space. Look at that trail back there.
Interesting.
Oh,
People have crawled on their hands and knees.
that's the
Well,
crawler.
breathing out my ears underwater may have helped.
Yeah.
Cause I'm feeling a little warm, but I'm good. As long as I don't get up there in that mess.
Yeah.
That makes me a little claustrophobic.
I can.
Right here I can still
One
see.
advantage of being short, I guess.
And up there, you would just kept,
Yeah.
I mean, right there
Don't
with
get
it low.
stuck in that.
Yeah, so,
Look at how those have been rubbed.
yeah, people,
Yeah, they're definitely in.
yeah.
Oh my God. I would rather think somebody just dropped their tissue.
I think they peed it.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Not really.
Well, I'm sure it's not the first person that's peed down there.
Okay, what does it say? Fat man misery. Great. Not only are we married, but now I'm gonna experience misery.
I thought you already did. I'm sorry I'm holding this up, but I gotta keep this.
I'm not gonna forget about that.
Of course, they said your head's out.
She said right here you did. You didn't tell me not.
This is why when the old folks was 40, they was all humped shoulders. You make it. Deep breath. It's all in your head.
I know it is.
Oh, yeah, stand up. See? That's down mushroom. Okay. Suck it up. Don't touch the wall. Oh. In and out. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Go about out. You take your nose out your mouth. Wow.
Because when you went off the tour, you were trespassing in a federal facility at that point. So he left in cuffs, and I don't know if he ever truly knows how lucky he was. Because that next tour that found him was the last tour of the season that went through that section. So stick with your group. For that specific tour, right now, we didn't get all of them. And at that time, I think it was the end of the summer, was the last tour.
She's checking around, she's thinking, is there a bathroom?
There is a bathroom. Yeah. You have to use your phone, there is one.
Oh, is there?
Yep, several stalls.
Who do you think told that little guy up there to do that?
We can come back and do another tour another year. Yeah. Yeah, because I got lots to do.
Crawling? Is that what you said?
They do, they have crawling tours.
Well, okay.
She started saying, then she's like, well, okay.
I think I'm a little beyond the crawling. You know, when I was younger, I would do that.
I'm good with walking.
I'm doing riding.
With what?
Riding.
Right.
Riding.
You want back on your bicycle then, don't you?
I do.
On that gravel road.
Gathering up, you guys have any questions, Yeah, ask. Yeah. He was kind of short. Yeah, he was pretty short for a guy. Awesome. What'd you guys think of that? That's pretty crazy, right? Could you imagine going through there with a lantern? Now, we know when Stephen first discovered Fat Man's Mystery, it was a little bit more full of sediment. So think more dirt and sand and silt. And that area over there, he was kind of scooping some of that out to make it a little bit more trespassable, at least for the point that you wouldn't have to be on your knees to get through that. But everything we just went through was naturally carved out by water. Yeah. Any questions or curiosities while we're hanging out here for a second? Yes? Yeah, all of these scalloping that you're seeing right here is because of the water flow. If you look up at the ceiling, I don't blind anybody, so everybody look back that way. Does that remind you of anything?
Clouds.
Waves. Waves, yeah. Rippling on a riverbed. That's because we are just a half a mile away from the underground rivers inside of the cave. Technically, this is one of the newer passageways inside of the cave compared to all of the higher passageways that we've gone through so far. This room still actively floods. If we have large enough flooding amounts, that Green River, which all of our rivers are a tributary to, will back flood all of the cave water back up into itself. That actually happened last year. That's why you see this measuring stick over here. Usually the water in here doesn't get very high. If it does flood up in this area, it would usually just make your boots wet. That's about it. But last year, in 2 weeks, we got 14 inches of rain. And when we had so much of that significant rainfall, there was one tour that came through here, and the water was right here. And so they didn't stop. They just kept going. And then the next day, it was up here. And then by the end of the day, it was up here. And then I got to work one day, and I was like, you know what? I want a self-guided tour today. On my lunch break, instead of going back to the visitor center, I'll come and see how high the water had gotten. And I could only get to about this step right here. And I could see the top of this rock poking up out of the water. And so I took some pictures, and I took some videos, and then I heard some keys jingling behind me, and I turned around, my supervisor was coming back this way. And I was like, hey. He said, hey, what are you looking? And I was like, oh, you know, water. Crazy. And of course, we all knew this was a big deal. We were told this is a once-in-a-generation flood. We're never going to see the water get this high ever again. And he says, is there anything in this room you can point out to me? I said, well, you know that big rock that's usually right behind us when we talk? It's right. I can't see it anymore. In the 30 minutes I was in here, the water rose at least 1.5 inches. Now, again, that's not, like, crazy. A lot of the time we get questions on tours about, oh my gosh, you got that soccer team in Thailand? Yeah. We hear about it all the time. People ask us about it. That would never happen here. We know when flooding is happening. That's not going to sneak up on us and trap us inside of the cave. Right? We, number one, got 80 million different ways to get out of this place. Okay? We're not going to be stranded anywhere. But we also know when the flooding is going to occur. That's not something that's unpredictable for us. So anyway, it was that high when I left my lunch break that day. The next morning, some of us asked our management, you know, hey, historic tours are canceled. Since we can't get down there, can a group of us just go down and look at how high the water's gone? And they said yes. And so me and a couple other rangers came down here. And this is as far as we can go. When y'all are leaving with me today, you're going to see right here on this handrail, actually, this pink little hairband. This is how high the water got. It was all the way up here. And I want you to understand that that beat out 3 other very significant floods that happened in Mammoth Cave. In 1980, in 2010, and in 2021. This flood right here is what destroyed Nashville. If any of you all remember River in 2010, the mall was destroyed, everything in Nashville was just decimated. That's how high the water got in Mammoth Cave. And that's how high it was in April. So it's insane how things can still change and cause new things to happen inside of the cave at that time. But yeah, just a half a mile that direction is the underground rivers, which is why you have these beautiful ripples on the walls through here because of that slow moving scalloping water that will come through here.
How long did it take the waters to recede?
It took a little over a week for the waters to recede, but then the hard work began.
Cleaning up.
Cleaning it, yeah. Everything through here was just caked in so much mud. It was awful, yeah. Alrighty, well, we're gonna continue walking. We're gonna start going up into Mammoth Dome. We're gonna have all those stairs. Don't fret. And if you need to stop and take a break, stop and take a break. Every 15 stairs is a platform, alright? If you need to rest, you don't want people to know that's what you're doing, just do what the rangers before me and Tyler taught us. Put one hand on your hip, take your other hand, point at something. Alright, go follow me.
Okay, I got you.
ghost?
Melted chicken nuggets. Yeah.
Look, there's people on there. That's the Martians that come out. There's a bit of limestone there.
Bet there's some moldy chicken nuggets up there.
Turn the outside opposite. Seems like a lot of chicken nuggets. Is that what you think? I'm gonna tell you, but is he chicken nugget?
Yeah.
Well, but is he because chicken nugget?
Moldy.
Change it again. It makes a good sleeping blanket.
Oh, yeah.
Cut it like that
Yeah.
and let the rats walk on
Yeah.
Oh, a molted chicken nugget.
I know the chicken nuggets, you did find one, didn't you? It's a moldy chicken nugget. Fat. It would.
He's so cute.
That's a moldy chicken nugget.
Oh, he has the walls up in here?
Good eye, Mila. You're cold. It was cold, you should have need some love and warmed you up. So I wonder if Molly chicken nuggets like the damper part of the Of course, there you go.
I'm not trying to.
Wow, but where's the water? Grab all
Is this the 500 and something steps?
I don't know. This is our
This is,
Yeah, they had it lit up. I just don't see the water, you know what I mean? You don't just see
Okay.
For a while.
Before we leave today, I do have to go ahead and confess something to you. I did actually tell you a lie at tonight's coffee. I told you that for each of our tour days, we would follow in the footsteps of Steve Bishop. When Steve Halfway down, they call out, we ran out of rope. I freak out and drop my lantern. That man telling Stephen this story is what gives us a huge geological breakthrough in knowing that Mammoth Cave is not linear passageway. These are passageways that are interconnected and stacked on top of itself. This is an absolutely integral thing for a cave explorer like Stephen to know. And he wouldn't have known about it if it weren't for somebody else being brave enough to put their footsteps down before him. Ladies and gentlemen, your footsteps matter. What you do today can have a very profound impact on people that come after you. You have no idea what the actions and choices you choose to do can mean for somebody else. I can guarantee you that 28 years ago, when a 20-something-year-old graduate from Western Kentucky University thought that taking a job at Mammoth Cave would be a really cool idea, would have any idea that his legacy here would mean so much to both of his kids that me and my brother would both work here one day. Your footsteps matter. Take them to all of our other national parks. They all belong to you. Thank you so much for choosing to come and enjoy one of them today. Me and Tyler don't get to do what we do without you all, so thank you so much. When we leave the cave today, we're going to walk across a black soapy mat with soap and water to clean your shoes off just to help protect those bats and the fungus that's inside of our cave. If you have any other questions, I'll be more than happy to talk to you after that. But on behalf of myself, my good friend and partner in the back, Ranger Tyler, and the entire guide force here at Mammoth Cave National Park, thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop.
Transformers. As it gets older.
Do that, yeah. Cool.
Good luck to y'all. That was an explosion last week.
You guys. Thank you. Thank you.